Welcome to KJTV for your greatest news and programs. I'm glad you're here to listen to wonderful program coming to you. And okay, welcome today. Happy 4th, Independence Day today?
July 4th, yeah.
Yeah, and in the studio we have Ben Muko and Honorable John Ondieki. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Thank you.
Yeah. How's your holidays?
Pretty cool. It's good. Doing on well.
Now, we are still on Kenya Gen Z's liberation movement. And we want to talk about what is the way forward and what options are there. So as you all know that we have been having protests by Gen Z who have been called tribeless, leaderless, fearless, and faceless. Do you agree that that is the really characteristic of Gen Zs? Honorable Ndiek?
I think I agree. I agree, although there has been a sense in which there might be some amorphous leadership. You can't tell who's leading it, but there's a general consensus that there are issues that are bedefiling the country, and a time has come for this group, the Gen Zs, who are the face of it. Even as myself, I'm a millennial. I completely agree with their sentiments, and I think this is the time. So they may not be seen like there's a certain leader, because I saw someone who tried to come out. Boniface Mwangi. He was roughed up in town when he tried to appear like he's the leader. So they're trying to remain like that, and I think there's no any leader who can come out and say I'm the leader of Gen Zs. They haven't embraced a leader. They still remain amorphous.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ben.
Yeah, I agree with them. I agree with what Mushmi was saying. They are fearless, actually. You know, one was saying that we will drop every drop of our blood to make sure we deliver the honesty and transparency in the government. So they are putting the government on check. They don't fear anything.
What do you think? Why did Gen Z come up? Was there any trigger really which triggered them to come up like the way they came?
Let me say this. Dr. Kenya, I've been in Kenya many times. I go to Kenya frequently. Let me tell you that we have a serious problem in the country. The problem may not have started with William Ruto, but it has been a serious problem. For example, as you know, our system 844, every single year we have about 1,800,000 to 1 million young people come out of high school. Most of these people are fraction. In fact, the university placement, CUSP's University Placement Service, only places about 100,000. The last time I checked, there were 86,000 who go to university and colleges from C+ and above. Ask yourself, where do all these other go? Because they say we have the TVETs. TVETs don't absorb that much, and there's a general perception that the education system, if you are not going to university, then you are not going to succeed. So most of these people, if you look at between 2009, the emergence of the border business and this burgeoning period between that time until now, it became like a buffer time. So most people, you have a border, you have something you can get, but there are too many. You can only absorb so much. So we have a bunch of people, most of them with at least a Form 4 education, others college, others university education. They don't have jobs. So where you wake up in the morning, you're 25, you are 20, you are 30, you have no job. Every single day you're relying on parents. I can show, if I show you my inbox, these guys are suffering. So now it comes a time when now they can see a system of government just come in with Ruto. And what they can show is first he wrote on telling them he's going that he overpromised, is underperforming. People around him are just showing opulence. Somebody wearing a watch of like 10 million. Somebody having this. People showing off everywhere. So this infuriated them. Now then you want to tax now the people, including small things like bread and stuff like that, the initial financial bill. So I think this was like more of a trigger, what they call the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back. This is actually what is happening now. So I think this has been a simmering problem, and I can tell you even right now, we are yet to see more.
Oh,
That's what I just say. Yeah.
okay. Now there is something which happened. The discussion which has started in the Senate, and Senator Aaron Jeriot from Kericho, Charagai from Nandi, Richard Yonyonka from Kisi, and Bonnie Alware. And I think you listen to their speeches. What do you take from how they emphatically talked? I know that there are some clips you have got going around. Ben, what do you take up what the Senate was saying?
Yeah, before I answer that question, Dr. I would like to echo on what the question you asked about what NCs, where they come from. Have they been there? I will be able to link with what Dr. Onyonka talked about. If you had him, he said about every 20 years there's something coming up from 1963. In 1963, he talked about something came up on 1980. There was a coup. Then after 20 years, 2021, then we had a new constitution, a new revelation of two parties. Then 2022, the youths were ready to come out, but Ruto convinced them that there is light at the end of the tunnel. We give you jobs, we will make a government. He talked all those lies. Then the youth said, oh, we have a leader now. They cooled down. He was given 2 years. So these things have been there because, remember, the President Ruto, Uhuru said about it. He said, youths, they are a force that we have to make sure we communicate and engage them. You see, it was coming. So this has been there, as Mheshimiwa said, and it's a big bomb actually. Okay, well, now your question on these senators, they won't know where they are going if they are not going to rely themselves to the youth. Everybody was congregating with the youth agencies, and then they say now, oh, I think it's a high time now, Ruto, you need to hear them and change this thing. Number one, which I took up, I just picked up from what they talked about. Reducing the government, reducing the CS, you see, if you reduce them to the minimum 14, and they said, number two, Ruto has to make sure the corruption is a big animal. And I saw when the president was talking about, it's like he gonna do it. If he started doing it, then I think the tone will cool down from the Gen Zs.
Well, thank you very much. Mheshimiwa.
Yeah, let me say this. I've been watching this, especially when we speak about the two senators from Rift Valley, especially Aaron Cheriot and Cherargei. At first, if you have been watching their noises, especially from Cherargei, I feel like he was not feeling like he was part of the team. He has been castigating Murkomen for getting a cut from the Chinese projects, from Dubai, whatever. He's buying houses everywhere. He has been saying these things. To me, it appeared that he was disgruntled. He wasn't involved in the beginning. The people who we call, quote unquote, like the kitchen cabinet, people like Sudi, Murkomen, and other guys there who have been benefiting a lot. Murkomen is a member of parliament. How can you, for example, go on a fund drive and raise 20 million as an individual, So Cherargei was a kind of like in the periphery. So he was criticizing them from that angle. But now the things are boiled, he kind of changed tune a little bit. But that's good. It's good that we have at least some of these voices because we want to make a change in the country. And Cherargei is coming in at that time. So at the moment, the force is so strong that nobody can manage that force. The people are so many. As somebody who's run for office in Kenya, there's this thing you'll be saying, oh, Kwana Nabang, I talk to the women, I want to vote for you, for the old people are the ones. I can tell you 2027, Gen Z will determine the president. And right now, there's so many, they have not been voting. I think they have realized that the vote has this substance, which can change. Now, 2027, I can assure you, those guys are so many, 70% of them, of the country population are them. So imagine they're able to elect any leader in the country. So I think these leaders, because they are also politicians, they can read the mood, then they have to sound the Gen Z's tune. And I can tell you right now, even though the president was not toppled from government, even though it was not like overthrown. But I can tell you, a revolution has already occurred in Kenya. You've heard them say, the leaders right now, even those who are like the SRC thing the other day, they say, "Oh, we don't want it," because they know what it means. Right now, some few months ago, maybe from last year, you would find an elected MP or a senator, roaming around with cars, driving in the wrong direction, overlapping their security detail, manhandling people even on the streets. Like you can't do anything in the Mheshimiwa. Right now, try that in Kenya right now. You can't. So what I'm saying is, essentially, there's a mindset, there's a shift of the mind. People have changed. Kenya's changed today. You can't go to like a funeral and you're just trying to show off things like they used to do. I'm telling you, that is a serious shift. And I can tell you, in a few years from now, this kind of revolution going on right now, you cannot float around with ununderstood money. They will hang you. And if you actually mentioned even that you are involved in corruption, I can tell you, people are going to start hanging themselves now because they know what it means. The wrath you meet on the streets. So, from my view, some of these MPs, like Onyonka, is a very smart guy, and he has also been speaking about these things before. These guys know where the direction is, and if you don't swim that direction, you can't sustain the going against the wave. So the thing is, the Mapinduzi has happened. And people's mindset have now changed. They know the power they have, and we are yet to see more. So I think what they're saying, the president reduce the expenditure. Let's reduce the multiplicity of things. You have this ministry and that ministry doing almost similar things. Stuff like that's to be reduced. I think the president has no option. They have to change. Yeah.
But there is a question I'm asking about the National Assembly. We have in our constitution that laws are made by the parliament. Parliament includes the Senate and the National Assembly. But it looks like the National Assembly is a dictator. The Senate does not have anything to do. I mean, did we make a mistake? Because like now it could have been checks and balance. If the bill, like the financial bill was to come from the National Assembly, then it has to pass through the Senate. Maybe there could have been a break there. But now the Senate is there actually maybe eating mandates because they are not even involved in this making. Don't you think that is one of the serious problems that we need to address in Kenya?
Yes. There's an MP who was interviewed that sometimes back, even much more you can be able to recall. And he said actually on the radio, he said that we are not doing anything. Actually, we are handing people's money for nothing. Everything is controlled from the State House. Yeah, I agree with you, Dr. Actually, the MPs, they go there, they just had money for themselves, they go work away. They earn their salaries, they go home. They nothing they're doing if Ruto has said yes. So the dictatorship, the constitution that we have is not working at the moment.
Yeah, I okay. There's some. I wouldn't have the time to check maybe what it is. There's some, in terms of function, it's a bicameral parliament. We have the National Assembly and the Senate, which is the Parliament of Kenya. There's some roles or functions of the Senate. One of it including the impeachment of the president, and also looking at mostly county affairs. In the budget making process happens at the National Assembly. I think that's where they take this budget making process being one of the things the parliament does, especially the National Assembly. That's where I think the loophole is. It should be, if there's an amendment, it should be that the parliament does it, the National Assembly does it, then the Senate also looks at it before they are sent off by the president. So at the moment, as you know, this parliament we have this minority and a majority, and after the election of 2022, the president was having a minority, but he used his own ways to buy members of parliament and take the majority because he knew what he wanted. So there's I agree with Manduku. Manduku says actually this parliament is defiled already. In fact, the best thing they should do is just it's the dissolution of it or execution. Then we have like a fresh parliament. But there's a lot of people can argue in whichever way. So the parliament we have right now, to me, apart from a few people I know and I've watched their consistency, they don't have a spine. They have no respect of the public. In fact, I was even telling a friend of mine, in fact, sometimes when I hindsight, when I look at it, where I'm glad I didn't get in that parliament, because this is actually terrible, to be a member of parliament who is now a slave. These guys are slaves. I was talking to one of them. He's on the other side. They can't get out of their cars. They can't. You are in Kenya. You can't get your car. Go to the shop, buy anything. You can't go to your constituency. You are within your car. So it is terrible the what's going on there. So I can say, in terms of what you are suggesting, Dr. Mandi, I think we need to have the Senate, which should be the upper house, to at least look at some of these laws and legislations before they go for assent. Like the finance bill.
I want you to listen to what the Martin Skuku said, as he predicted about the problem with the National Assembly.
Very close to the Boma one, and very close to the Lancaster House 1963 Constitution.
Mute for you.
The only there are about 3 or 4 things I don't like. I hear the members of parliament today, they don't want to have a strong Senate. Now, if you're going to have the presidential system of governance, you must have a strong Senate directly elected by the people, like the one we had in 1963, which will serve as a break to parliament. Why? If you are doubting parliament can not be dictatorial, just remember this. When they increased their salary, the commoners made noises. Oh, this salary is too big. Or did they ever sit down and say, okay, if it's too big, we reduce it?
Never.
The answer is no. Secondly, the other day, you and I pay taxes. They were asked to pay taxes. Have they paid up today?
Nope.
So, what will stop them being dictatorial? So, the only way, and the Wananchi must hear me loud and clear, because I'm here by the grace of God. We are the only people. There are only 2 people who are alive. Kanu had 12 delegates in Lancaster House, 1963. Yes. Kadu had 6. Out of 12, all are dead except Ngala Mwendwa from Kitui.
From Kano.
From Kanu.
And Kadu?
Kadu 6. All are dead except
Manawa Oyondi.
Mana Oyondi is still alive.
You've written the point. This is Martin Cook, who is let his soul rest in peace. He had predicted. Are you seeing now? What we did when we passed the Constitution, the Senate is supposed to be the upper house. But the mistake we did in 2010, after passing the Constitution, we left all the Parliament to implement it. And they put all of the powers, because really in our Constitution it does not say that the bills have to pass through National Assembly alone. This was done when they were implementing the Constitution. And this is one of the problems we are having now. Actually, you can say what it has reached the National Assembly is a dictator, as Martin Skuku said.
Mm-hmm.
These guys, Doctor, they were very greedy. I can name some few names of them. James Yorengo and others and the group, because they were very, very, very focal on the Constitution. They gave themselves power. They thought they would be in the parliament all the time. They forgot about the Senate. When they jumped to Senate, they have no powers. They have gone where? To run for governors. So I agree with you. These guys, because they were selfish, they gave all the powers to parliament. Now parliament, they are sitting on the Senate, they are not doing anything. My proposal, my view, they need to review this one, so that the Senate should have a upper hand.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with you. I say no. There are few things or legislation that touch on counties. I think the Senate has been constrained to just talk about the counties, and right now, as we speak, I think that kind of role, or the roles that have been given, I think make them irrelevant, because they can be actually be reviewed. Now the Senate should be reviewed as a house that should be defunct, because if it's an issue of housing, the issue of housing, when they came up, they said, oh, housing is a devolved function. So why are you taking housing, for example, levy, whatever, without using the Senate? That was a case court, I believe in that. So the Senate, if it is to be strengthened, is like Martin Shkruk is saying there, is to make sure that any law, before it's taken to the president for assent, it actually goes through the Senate for review. And if there's any issue at the Senate, then they return it to Parliament to correct it. Then we have a consensus of the Parliament, I mean the National Assembly and the Senate, then they can take it to the president. We'll have less acrimonious laws. We have at least laws which have been reviewed properly for the good of the citizens. But now, as it is right now, if Senate is just being limited to those kind of functions, then we could argue then we have no reason we have a Senate, and they should be one of the institutions that be looked at into being, excised out of the system, so we can have a leaner government in this arm of government, the Parliament. That's what I would suggest. Otherwise, if we need the Senate as a check of the National Assembly before it goes up there, it should be. Another thing is this: what will stop also a rogue president or a rogue executive from also extending their tentacles into Senate and buying senators? Because there are few. There are 67, I believe, all of them. There are few. You can easily buy them, The only thing is that most of the senators we have right now, people have been like seasoned politicians that have transitioned. They may not be as greedy as the young ones who are coming in now. So that may be. But if we have a bad president who can easily get there and actually talk to them, and it makes, I think they're also vulnerable to such kind of manipulation from the executive. Yeah.
So you think that even making the Senate to be a strong house, it won't help?
It won't, because I don't, it's the strength of in Kenyan context, the strength of an institution is as good as the person who's occupying it. Because now, if the president is able to call a few MPs to State House in the pretext that they're seeking development for their constituents, they go there and they are bought and they change, they're compromised. You heard the other day that MP from, I think, Mathare or Juj, I think, was saying they were being bribed with 2 million to pass the bill. You see, some of these things are unimaginable. So it is possible for the executive to use this way through bribery, whichever means, to make sure that somebody toes the line. So it's possible that can happen.
But at least one of the things we need, if now we are on a crossroad, we are actually asking ourselves, for a long time, Kenya, we have been operating like with thermometer syndrome. You know about a thermometer? A thermometer will only check that the temperature has gone up, then the AC will kick on, and once the temperature comes down, it stops.
Yeah.
Let it not be also the same way, like we want only to a band-aid.
Again,
a band-aid right now, because we wanted to please the Gen Zs, and then we were business as usual. And I think that is what Aaron, listen a bit what Aaron was saying.
So this time, it's completely broken. If it's a pipeline, Mr. Speaker, it's time to decommission and set up a new pipeline. That's what I hear as being challenged. We are being told that everybody wants a fair shot at life, and not our children to get better chances at education. Better chances, Mr. Speaker. I grew through our public education systems, from primary to secondary to university, Mr. Speaker. And it was the best at that particular time. People are complaining, Mr. Speaker, that unfortunately, as it is today, nobody with a pen in this country take their children either to public, primary, secondary, or even university, because it's completely finished.
I mean, he has used a term there clearly that it is not a time to put a band-aid on a pipe. It's a time to decommission and put a new pipe. If we have to ask ourselves, do you think if Parliament, the reason I'm not left in the Senate, if the Senate had that power, do you think those Gen Z could have worked to Parliament? Because they talked to members of Parliament, they were already bored, they were going to pass that. At least if the motion was moving to the Senate, like here in the process we make laws in the US, it has to go through the two houses before it goes to the president. don't you think that would have been, we need also to talk and give the Senate the true power in this process?
Yeah, I think they should be have powers so that Mheshimiwa, we don't want to say that they will be poor, so we don't do it. Let's fix it. Because the time is coming when this constitution, one will be elected and they will use the constitution the right way. We should not stop the right thing that they will be put. You know, if we didn't have a new constitution of 2010, imagine where we will be right now. Do you know the time or more you could not even talk anything? That's treason. You could not even imagine that the president would die. You remember the 1972 and the time of Kenyatta, Jomo Kenyatta. So we have come a long way. Do the right thing, register very nicely. One time we will have a leader who will fix the system.
No, I agree. But for now, the kind of senators we have, they're trying their best. Even the quality of the debates you would listen to, you can see there's a sense, and they're speaking from their hearts, so they understand what is going on, and they regret what is going on. So I think from what Cheriot was saying, Senator Nyonka, Halwari, and others, they feel like they have the pulse of the nation. Unlike the members of parliament, some of them who would never contribute in debates in parliament would never even show up in parliament. So I think we should strengthen the Senate. But I can say it again, the Senate quality will be as good as the people who will be elected to be in that Senate. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Now let's talk about corruption. They talked much about corruption. I mean, members of parliament like the CS Murukomen and this Sudi. I even Sudi when he is passing is with chase car. Simply a member of parliament flashing all this money, and these are the promises that Ruto said. So what we need to, what should be the way forward for fighting corruption?
Corruption, I think, to me, it's an animal which has been in Kenya for a long time. Did you know this guy you are talking about? He was found today in Dubai, 200. Is it 200 US dollars? 200,000 US dollars.
Who is that?
Murukumen. I've just seen it. I've seen it flashing right now. You see, this corruption and carrying money in the pocket and the trunk of the cars, it has been there. But we should not lose hope. Rusi are coming. They don't know even which tribe they are coming from. They don't know what they want. Somebody who can fix the system. It will come one time. Then the schools will start.
When why are you talking one time? It is now we want it. We want it right now.
It is happening.
It's happening right now.
What is the way forward? What should, because do you think they will continue to be leaderless and then do something?
Let me say this. I think that radical change has to happen. And I've been listening to the spaces, the X spaces with the kind of the way agencies are discussing it and the proposals out there, and I'm beginning to agree some of the views they're giving. For example, if it's a county government, we know this is the budgetary allocation of this county. We know the number of employees. We know the projects they're staying from the budgets which have been approved by assemblies. We cannot wait, for example, for the Auditor General to finish auditing. For example, right now they're auditing the books of 2018, 2019, I believe. They haven't been 2020. They're auditing those books. And now that's what they base on when they're doing the revenue allocation. Now, what is stopping the Auditor General from going as fast as possible to audit, for example, the books of last year when you're in this year? So we need to see how we can make this, or we get an alternative of auditing. One way of doing this is making sure that we have an open portal where they post everything, even if you're a single receipt. Because agencies now have their phones, they have everything they can see. This is what it was. This is in the market. A pipe is selling at maybe 100 per whatever meter, and now they're saying yes, 1,000. Those are things. The more openness, more transparency will end this corruption. Another thing, what is the role of EACC as we stand right now? They are agents of corruption themselves. So you find that you have been cited somewhere before you even know they contact you. We've had people saying, they contacted, oh, you know, Mheshimiwa or so and so, you are being mentioned, you are in this scandal. How can we help you? Oh, really? Oh, we are coming for you this day. Okay. Can you dodge, at least give us some money? And they become agent of corruption. So we cannot have a commission like that, which is given a serious budgetary allocation. And what they can show for, or they can show off, is nothing. So one way of even trimming this government in a way of saving more money for public allocations and the development is taking off this kind of commissions like EACC. We have the police who can do that job. So this multiplicity and duplicity of things should be stopped, and we get more transparency. Anybody who has been mentioned before, we want to see a crack of the whip. You know, what working out in Turi, you know, you've been even been mentioned. You know, you should, so people have this kind of beyond reproach characters in government. As long as we have these bodies masquerading as bodies that fight corruption, I think we are in a long way to go, because we haven't changed. Look at the Transparency International, our ranking. See, we are still corrupt as we have been many years. So nothing has changed. So EACC, itolewe. Let's get the Auditor General be given that money to do quick, book reviews, of auditing. Then we be more updated. Then let's have a portal, open portal for each county, for each. You go there and check, oh, this is what has been done. This is the one who has been allocated. This is the criteria. Yeah, not these things which done in a lot of countries and manner. So I think that's one way of fighting corruption. But I can assure you, with the kind of mood, if it is sustained for even 1 year, I think Kenya has changed. If you are in government, a parastatal head, a minister, and your ministry has been mentioned, you can imagine how you will feel when the thing is coming out in the public and being discussed on social media, and like we're discussing this. You can even resign because of the pressure. And that's the change we are talking about right now.
But Mheshimiwa, that is what we are, maybe you were young that time. 2002, when President Kibaki came to office, the mood of the country, they were happy. They say now end to corruption. Even if the people of the public would arrest a traffic police who's taking a bribe from a matatu and flog him to the police station. But that hope disappeared immediately. That's why I say we have a band-aid mentality where we put a band-aid to a situation.
If you want
corruption. See what? Let me give an example of the former governor of Migori. There was glaring evidence how he siphoned billions of money into, even 2 billion was found in the account of his son in Australia. But you see how he has brought that case. They have now come to a compromise that he's going to surrender properties worth 300 million when he had taken billions of money. Corruption fights back. So it's an hydra, which I really don't know. I mean, it will need a radical way to solve it. So this, even if we have informis, I'm sure you know that in Kenya we have a financial management system, informis, because even counties, when you are paying, you pay through informis. That is a financial managing system for the whole of Kenya. But still, people are doing corruption.
But that is just known within the systems, within those working in government. The public don't have access to those things. Like you can't go and log in and say, oh, I have an academic check. You can't. It's a system within government systems. Public has no idea.
So, Dr. You wanted to fix the corruption right now? I have a view. I have my own view.
Yeah.
You want to fix it right now? Remember, who wanted to fix it? He went to those all directors. He called them and they asked them, "What do you want me to do?" Actually, that guy had a sense, and he was willing to fix the corruption, but he didn't have these people to help him. Ruto, when he was being elected, when he was elected, he said, "When I put that Bible down, all thieves must run away," right? He has not done that. Actually, it's worse. So what I'm saying, if we want to fix Daktari, I have a solution. Like there's a country I have to remember right now. You wave all those white guys who are there, all of them go home. All of them, name them. Then we'll fix the system.
Yeah, but how are you? How Ruto is going to fix? before they came to office, his deputy, Rigathi Gachagua, had a case of corruption, and all the money which was frozen in 201 million was supposed to surrender to the state. But immediately came to office, that case died.
Yeah.
And this lady from, who was a cabinet minister from Mombasa had the cases. So we saw cases, Kimware down, those cases dropped. How can how is he going to tell the public? You know, these are the things which were boiling down, which have made the people frustrated. But how do you think the easiest way we can deal with corruption?
Burkina Faso way. We get all of them to eliminate it. Then agencies will elect the people who are fresh. Then we will be able, we use the same constitution. Those guys are rotten, including all those who you see Senate. They are all thieves. I'm telling you, they're all thieves. But they have not been caught yet.
to me, I think we go Burkina Faso way. The guy Traoré, the guy, you know, the thing is a military ruler. He's a leader. He came here after the coup. That would be, I think, extreme. A coup is an extreme, and it can create disruption that we may take long to build. So I think Ruto talks about bottom up on corruption. You know, we went through this. Probably you guys went at this different system of education, but you know that if, for example, you see you're in Form 1 and you see Form 4 is getting strokes of canes, and you're in Form 1, you know things like what it will be now top bottom. So if the president seriously takes his politics, you know, and lays political responsibility to the doorsteps of these ministers and the PSS, you know, principal secretaries. For example, the case of the fertilizer. The fact is, fertilizer which was supplied. In fact, I was in Kenya that time. Fertilizer which was supplied was completely, you know, like was sand. Was supplied to people, you know, through NCPB. There's fertilizer brought to NCPB to supply the public, but people go there and mix it, take good one, the mix and send. You know, that was very wrong. And yet now they're saying the director of National Serious and Process Board is in court, but the minister ni mweupe kama pamba. So that's the area. So if you can fire a minister, and maybe some members of parliament can be put in jail. You see, if the president comes in, takes Waluke, who had been imprisoned for 52 years with the Wakungu, that problem of what they did. He then brings him as part of his minister, is aligned MPs, and his sins are forgiven. So those are what we're talking about. So if someone has been found to be guilty of corruption, whether it's a minister or it has been actually been implied, they should just go home. The more we do this, the more we create more trust or you know, confidence in the institutions. But when a court rules that somebody goes to jail, then you come in and sanitize them. You had this case of Kashawa, you mentioned Ben, and then it comes in and you just take it away. This is what will make Kenya keep mark timing. So I think it should be a top bottom. You just fire a few ministers and you see the country, you know, imekuwa kubaya. That's how I think we can start fighting it.
I agree with you. Mheshimiwa, do you admire Rwanda?
Yeah.
You see, there's no corruption in Rwanda. As much as we are talking about Uganda and Museveni is a bad man, Museveni has made that country to be what it is. He is very straight, and there's no corruption in Uganda right now. So what we are trying to say is that transformation, I agree that we have to take too long, but you said you wanted to fix now. Even now, it's in Burkina Faso way. If you want to take us time, it will take time, but it will come, Daktari, because we have a new constitution. Time to time.
But Ben, one of the things we need to address also the animal. You could be an MP now if you were a millionaire, if you were also on the system, you had the money. Even the electorate, these members of parliament, they are under stress. Once they win the election, they start accumulating money to go and buy again to come back to parliament.
Yes.
So what we have to address about the electors who are complaining, they are also the source of why corruption is. There are people who are governors now who are members of parliament who are not supposed to be. Actually, good leaders are outside. So corruption starts from there. Because if we can fix also the directorate.
Let me tell you from experience and what I see now, there's a huge shift going forward. The fact is, money will give you a seat in Kenya. Money alone will give you a seat, even if you don't talk anything. That's a fact. When it comes to elections of leaders, especially towards the election day, you can literally change the ground by pouring money. That changes. And I've seen that. I've seen the ways that's affected myself and other people I know. But this is a problem of the old people. The mamambogas, the people in the village who have not had a chance to read or see the changes around the world. If somebody understands exactly what it is, what it means to choose a leader, man cannot change that. And that's why I say the Gen Zs will bring this shift 2027. They understand it. You can give them the money, they can take the money, but actually they elect the right person at the end of the day. So the politicians who are there, whom if you look at the quality of the way they can even respond to issues, their processing of information, they're way low in terms of caliber compared to some of the Gen Zs. So akili kubwa for long. So you can use the money, but in 2027, I can tell you the Gen Zs in the Gen Z in Nairobi town is not different from a Gen Z in Kisii town. It's not different from a Gen Z in Kisumu. These people are like it's a cohort of people thinking alike, having gone through the same experiences, and they process the information almost the same. And they also interact on social media. If you saw one of the X spaces, had almost 140,000 people attending there, most of them Gen Zs. So, and they're using just phones here, So I'm telling you, 2027, it will change. So even if you have all the money, it can facilitate you in terms of maybe printing your promotional materials or paying your staff around, but it will not be the determinant when it comes to election of a person. So going forward, those who have the money and they believe they're going to use that money, it won't work. But for now, in the villages, somebody, there's a time I was, allow me to say this, during my campaign trail. I left my house with my guys in 2 cars, and in the evening, and on my way to where I was going to have a meeting with some old mamas there, I found a young boy. Ahead of me, I saw a young boy having something like, I thought it's a cigarette. I could see some smoke coming out of his hand. I'm like, what's going on? Let me stop and see the young boy having a cigarette. What I found he was having was this maize cobs, ebisaka, maize cobs, with just a burning charcoal, that he has gone to a neighbor to borrow fire, which you guys used to do in the 70s. Going to borrow fire. So which means they can't afford a matchbox.
Even a matchbox.
Which means they don't have electricity. So that is the level of poverty. Now, this person, if you give him 20 shillings or even 50 shillings or even 100 shillings, I can assure you they will vote for you. So this is going to change. But if in Kenya right now, at least some families, you have like a Form 4 leaver who understand these things and have been through the school system. You had Senator Kajuang talking about some of the literature books they've been reading. I have read also all those books. For example, Kifo Kisimani, what it talks about Mustaiki Mayor, what it talks about the leadership and the corruption in government. So these are things these people are also going through. They understand that if you do this, if you put a bad leader, this was it. So they may not have the money, but they're definitely not poor in terms of the brain. So this is not going to last. If it lasts 2027, that might be the last time maybe it will last. 2032 and going forward, people are going to choose people based on their capabilities, their ability to articulate their issues, their integrity, and not what they give them.
And Dr. What shocks me, the people who have been in the United States of America, the people who have known how the government is run, the people who have known how the transparency is done, the integrity, they are the people who are going back to Kenya doing the same thing the system is doing. Right now, Dr. we want to transform the people electorate. It's from us who, like now, Jonah, you are going to campaign. Say like Anyona, I'm not going to give you any money. I'm just going to fight for you. If they don't vote for you, well and good. Because you buy them, you will say, let me get my money back before I start serving you guys.
So now, okay.
It's just to start from us, Doctor.
Okay, our time is fast running. The question I'm asking, what are the Ruto's options right now? Because we don't know how much the Gen Zs are going. If you are told to advise Ruto, what are the options? Yes, what has he to do immediately to bring calm to the country?
Can I start first or the Mheshimiwa?
No, you can start.
I wanted to ask you, but now let me say,
Yeah.
why did Ruto choose all these people who are low, who are not qualified to be CS? Why? And Ruto is a very smart guy. Don't think Ruto is a stupid man. Why did he get these guys who can't even perform? The first time he called them and said, "You guys, you don't even know what you are doing. I know more than what you guys in your ministries." It's because he wanted to use them for corruption purposes to control them. That means now give him the option.
It could be your personal opinion, but also remember that all of the best, the talent, the most qualified people were with the Raila and the government.
Yeah.
So actually, the people who stuck with him were him. So what?
But he has some people who are smarter. He could have chosen them like Kebaki. He used the government like Moi. He used the smart people to govern the government if he wanted to succeed. But because he's smart, he wanted to make sure these people you can call and say, "Hey, stop what you are doing. Do this." That's why he gave them a job. That's according to me. Now the options that he have. Last time I didn't see he has more options. Today I can say he has some options are there. He can reduce the government. Yes, from 41 to 14. Secondly, what he can do, make sure he doesn't travel. The budget he has to cut. He say, "I've done this. My office is going to reduce this." And this money is giving all the time to the meetings. He has to cut them so that the people can know that he has started working. Build the industries. Let him start working because he knows what is good. Create jobs to the youth. He has that option to do because he has power.
Okay.
Yeah, so for me, I think number one thing as a leader, you need to raise your credibility. What you say must match the actions. For far too long, the president has been saying things he doesn't implement, so nobody believes him. So when the public loses that kind of trust, we call trust deficit, then you'll be in a precarious situation because you can't move an agenda that the public can say you are doing the right thing for them. So number one, he needs to do that. And in so doing, we'll have no option other than to shed off that government and also to shed off and show decisiveness in making this. You know, like Ben is saying, some of these people that Ruto has in government, he is hoping to use them in 2027 re-election. Because he knows that this guy may be stupid, maybe in doing things. Aisha Juma may be stupid in understanding policy, but he's good in maneuvering the course for me. So he's just looking at 2027 and not looking at what he's doing now. And by so doing, it cost him this presidency of 5 years. So he needs to do that. So he needs to shed off the government, be credible, reduce the traveling. Like for example, they were saying, allow me to say this, that he was given an aircraft from the Arabs to use to the US. What if these Arabs actually assassinated him? Because they could assassinate him. You give you a vehicle, if it's faulty, I know the way the fault is, they could have assassinated him. That's another thing. Another thing, what if these people are giving him what they call quid pro quo? I give you this, next time I'm coming for a tender, you give it to me. Maybe a big
they have a tender. They already
have a tender.
They are the ones supplying oil.
Yeah.
They are supplying the diesel, oil,
and gas.
Emirates is the one supplying and the diesel.
The G2G. So these are things we're saying is more of you're using the country to advance some of these kind of selfish interests with your cronies, which is wrong. So Ruto should be seen now. He should reduce his international tours, be in the country, and reduce the ministers, to 14. They are 22 now. They should be 14. Those PSS we are 52. They can be brought to 20. Or low. He can do that if he does that. And also, of course, he has said he's going to scrap off the business in the office of the first lady and the second lady and the Parliament cabinet secretary lady, stuff like those. He reduces those kind of things. At least it can begin to be seen in the short term that is understanding what the frustration of the country is doing the austerity measures for the country, and people can say, "Oh, yeah, let's give him time." But if he's just going to use the goons they're using now, he's using goons. He introduces goons, what you call like a virus and antivirus tactic. You introduce the virus and there's an antivirus, which is the Trojan antivirus can kill. So is introducing the goons to the protest to say, oh, the goons are infiltrating the protest and they're causing mayhem. And they are actually stealing from the public. The public, you introduce the goons, they steal from the public, and the public can see. Okay, the other day he's introducing, he tells the SRC, okay, can you tell the public that, oh, all MPs and us we're going to have the salary increment? Then you come out, oh, no, we cannot have that. You see, like you introduce something,
I think
then you
that's
take it back.
was
A very silly game, you know. I call it antivirus kind of tactic. This can't work. Kenyans are now can see through this kind of games. You know, you can't say you're doing this and you, oh no, I do it back. The same thing was with the finance bill. It says the bread will have the VAT increased to 16%, the petroleum 16%. We introduce this. Now, when people say, oh, we don't want that, then they say, oh, we want to take it away. But people read the document and see and saw all and other ills which was hidden there. You know, introduce this, you take it away, then you take the whole thing. It is a very silly kind of tactics he's doing. So some of these things he has to stop. He needs to know that now the Kenyans, I know the mamambogas you cheat in the marketplaces. I know the old people you cheat, the boda you cheat there. Even these bodas there went to school. So he needs to know that he's not dealing with a crowd of people who have gone to school. Tomorrow he has I wish you guys can watch. I've seen he's posted, he's hosting the X Space tomorrow with the Gen Zs. Wait and see the kind of game he's going to get there. Because these are people who have gone to school. Awana kazi. They see through all those kind of tactics. Ruto, I think, has run out of options. The only thing he can do for now, for short term, to maintain his presidency, do something which seems to suggest that you understand. Otherwise, the bomb is still there. It will be detonated in the future. We have so many people have these problems. We have to think about it more seriously than we think.
Yeah. Time is running out for him, Daktari. He could have done Kebaki's way, empower micro business. Time is running out for him because he could have pumped the money to the small business. Then the youth will have some business to do. The banks to lend the money, but now time is running out.
But you see, I think you have seen what is going to do social media or the list of CEOs in all the pastors. I mean, you can see how skewed that is. I mean, surely when people look at that, it's yet to be. We have to see that, and this controlling of even members of parliament. That before they vote, they have to get a call from State House. You see, even now that when Mengiji say that they are going to increase the salaries, then you see once president says no, you need to reconsider that. Then you see the chairman of Kogi Waiguru say, we are not going to take those salaries.
They're playing with the psychology.
And you see that is kind of series is like it's a song people are singing.
Yeah, they're choreographed.
So
it won't work. It's unsustainable. It's unsustainable. You can see through the game.
Yeah, okay. Our time is gone. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time. Jonah and Ben.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Hector, for the time.
Thanks for hosting us.
Thank you.